Hello and welcome to our first episode of 2023. New Year's is all about forming resolutions. And mostly, if I have to exaggerate that, then probably in the first 30 days, our resolutions fade off. For many, they may have already started wearing off. But this episode, what we intend to do is create 23 nuggets. It's like a reckoner for ourselves as well as a repository for everyone where we share sort of resolutions that we have listed down, which could be like a guide for each one of us. And then let's see where it takes us. And these are little nuggets that could enhance the life. Now, of course, we have listed down 23 nuggets. Prasanna and I, we have jotted sort of alternating between the two of us. I don't know what Prasanna has jotted. Prasanna really doesn't know what I have jotted. But let's start the conversation there and then see how it goes forward. So over to you, Prasanna, to start the conversation.
Sure. So, Shantesh, the first nugget which I would like to bring forth is related to writing. I personally think that in today's world, writing is extremely critical, and it is like the beginning or the starting point of any form of creation, whether it is if you want to create a podcast, the one which we are doing like right now, or a video, or any form of like a blog, newsletter. Writing is what is something which we start with. So I think writing some 200 words a day is a very powerful nugget, which even I would like to pick up and each one of us can try.
Wonderful. So nugget number 2, I kind of resequence one of my nuggets, and I would like to talk about daily journaling. As how we take a dump every morning to empty our system and then cleanse our system from internally, we have to write something that is on our mind every morning, and doing that as a catharsis to empty ourselves really allows us to be in the moment and to explore what is actually happening right now rather than sort of swinging between past and the future. And I think anchoring ourselves each day, at least for a few minutes in the morning, becomes vital. And daily journaling is one of the ways to do that.
Great. The third one, or third nugget, I would look for creative skills, building creative skills. And when I say creative skills, in the past, I always had this notion that creative skills are only for creative people, artists, and designers. But in today's world, I think it is important for each one of us to learn some of the basics of creating, say, infographics, diagram, flowcharts, sketch notes. So in any form, we should practice that 10-15 minutes of creative skill building. And that's something which I would like to suggest as a third number nugget.
Nugget number 4 is cleaning your car. Now, it could be cleaning your car, it could be cleaning your bike, it could be just cleaning your workspace, but essentially doing that on a day-to-day basis and making sure that that one thing that you care about is spick and span, it's tidy and neat, is a possibility to reconnect with that sort of object.
Perfect. The fifth nugget, according to me, would be to build and work on our virtual presence. We all know the importance of physical presence, meeting people, customer, clients, having interactions, standing on stage, talking, giving a presentation is all fine. But in today's digital, or maybe you can, some of us can say in a hybrid world, it is also important to build the skills related to our virtual presence, the one which we are doing right now as well here, moving from a only audio podcast to a kind of video audio podcast is a virtual presence. So building and working on that skill, I think, is a very important nugget.
Nugget number 6 is decluttering, or rather also dehoarding, if that's a word. But decluttering is we have created too much of junk in our space. It could be mental space, it could be physical space. But starting with physical space, there is a lot which is there lying around which is not required. For me personally, to get rid of that, to let's say donate that is excess or give away to somebody who really needs it. But also when we are buying a lot of stuff online, I think being very conscious, being very mindful becomes a very important aspect from multiple perspectives, because that clutter is actually creating the white noise in our life. But also, if we are mindful of what we are buying, it is that much more sustainable towards our planet. And I think it becomes very necessary to declutter as well as to dehoard.
Great. The seventh nugget which I'm looking for is to work on personal branding. And when I say personal branding, in past we have seen the importance of personal branding, but today I think in the face of artificial intelligence, robots, where many of the even so-called creative work will be done by robotics and artificial intelligence, it is important to put our own stamp. What do we stand for? Our own DNA in what we do, and that can come from personal branding. So that's the next nugget which I would suggest.
The next nugget is watering the plants. Now, watering the plants, yes, of course, plants require life and we exchange oxygen, carbon dioxide, and all that is fine. But just realizing when you're watering a plant that that also is another life, and bringing empathy in exercising while watering those plants, I think is a very powerful tool for myself. I really find joy whenever I do that, and I do it less often than required. And I'm trying to imbibe that in my culture. But watering the plants every now and then, as they require it, could be a very powerful tool to bring empathy in life.
Great. So this particular watering the plant is kind of connected to the next one, nugget number 9, which I would like to bring forth, which is mindfulness and meditation. So in a way, watering the plant itself can be a process of mindfulness. So being with the plant and you actually experiencing how you are watering the plant. Same way, actually meditation of 10 to 15 minutes every day can be a powerful way to start a day.
Wonderful. And it incidentally connects with nugget number 10, where accommodating slowness in our life consciously, that we are rushing through everything. Even when we are stuck in the traffic, we want to reach from destination A to destination B, and we are honking, we are struggling through that. And that brings jitteriness, that brings anxiety, that brings a level of stress without us wanting it, without us realizing it. I think really consciously bringing slowness into our actions is very vital, particularly in this day and age. And slowness is a way to, and accommodating slowness is a way to do that.
Perfect. Nugget number 11 is related to reading. And when I'm saying reading, not focusing on the content or quantity of reading or the quality of reading, but the time spent on this activity of reading, somewhere around 30 minutes a day is the nugget which I'm looking for. So that focusing on reading, and my preference here is to go for a hard copy kind of a book, but it's again a preference. It's not hard and fast. To begin with, one can start with digital reading, but also enjoying that feeling of going through the pages, flipping the hard copy pages of a book. But that's something which I'm looking for as a next nugget.
And speaking of reading, I think it is important that we have to create this as a habit of, let's say, reading 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, whatever it is, rather than 20 pages a day. Because depending on the book, depending on the word count on that particular book, or if it's a hardcore philosophy book, you may only be able to read 5 pages in 15 minutes. So it rather than putting a number of pages, number of minutes could be very helpful. Nugget number 12 is plan your day, create your week. Now, where I come from, Prasanna, in this is that I used to maintain a calendar which is separate, which are list of meetings that I have for the week or the coming days. And I every morning prepare a to-do list. And there was always the game of catching up with the to-do list and trying to do everything. But time boxing as a tool and reconnecting with that old habit. But this time I'm doing it in a sort of a physical book where you allocate that particular time for those things and work around that. And so planning a day becomes sort of a way to work around whatever tasks are there, but allocating exact time for that, but also creating your week intentionally becomes very necessary from not only career point of view, but managing your personal space, mental space, head space point of view as well.
Okay. Okay. Next nugget number 13 is daily walk, and daily walk for around an hour. And when I say daily walk for an hour, it is not the walk which we do for any other work purpose. So I am going for, say, grocery shopping or marketing or any other things. No, that's not considered as walk, but dedicatedly spending time on going on a walk, being with yourself is something which I am putting as nugget number 13. And I personally want to take this as a daily activity for the whole year, which means for the next 365 days, I don't want to miss it. So that's the game I'm playing for, but anyone can pick up that game.
Nugget number 14 is mindful of content consumption. So, very simple. Social media, YouTube, Netflix, whatever it is, let's indulge in it, absolutely, which is necessary to sort of unwind, but also be mindful of what we are consuming.
And I would just like to add, Shantesh, when you say mindful, and it is inside of that mindfulness, is also to question, ongoingly question what is being put on us, because many a times I see the balance goes, because it starts with one good content, you already are aligned with that content which is coming, and suddenly the topic shifts and you don't know why. For whatever, the creator might be shifting the topic because the algorithm is pushing him or her, but you along with that creator enter into a different zone and you start getting without questioning whatever is coming. So I think ongoingly questioning everyone, in fact whatever we are speaking here, our nuggets, people should question these nuggets, 23 nuggets which we are putting. Question each one of them, see if it makes sense, follow only if it makes sense. So absolutely correct. With that, we move to the next nugget, which is nugget number 15, which is to build a community around the topics which you are interested in. So creating any activity, so building a community has now become an important skill in today's world. Many a times it was happening on its own, but now you have to consciously work on building that skill as a community leader. And I think that's something which I am putting as the nugget number 15.
Nugget number 16 for me is meditate, but I think you have already spoken about meditation. But I would also say that creating a morning ritual for ourselves. When we wake up, inadvertently, we may be taking the phone in our hand to switch off the alarm that goes off, but then we start going into that wormhole of social media or Instagram reels or whatever it is. Just keeping that aside and creating our morning ritual and living that is a very powerful way to start our day.
Nugget number 17 is looks very simple but very important. It comes from what we want to manage, we have to measure it. Weight watch. So even if you want to control your weight or reduce your weight or do whatever, first thing is weight watching, and many a times we skip that step. So daily weight watching is my next nugget.
Yeah, it's a very powerful way because in the last 3 years, I have managed to kind of lose quite a substantial weight, and weight watching alone helps you in terms of just measuring yourself against your yesterday. Even if I was traveling, particularly in a hotel room, I would ask them if they have a bathroom scale, and they would send it to the room if it wasn't in the room already. And that really helps you in terms of just keeping a track on how you are also consuming. Nugget number 18 for me is taking out time to connect with friends and family. So, consciously, something where we are particularly missing out in this WhatsApp culture is we are in touch with our friends, we are messaging them. But unlike the landline times, you don't pick up the phone to talk to them, to hear their voice. And I think taking out time to speak with them frequently, getting back connected to them is a very important aspect in our life which we are missing out on.
Nugget number 19 is kind of extension of what you said, Shantesh, which is nugget number 18, is to have that connect, same kind of connect as you mentioned with friends and family, with your customers, clients, colleagues, and business network. So having that kind of connect with your business network and customers is an extremely important nugget, is what I look at.
Nugget number 20 is in this age of social media and high speed internet, we have gotten used to instant gratification. I think being patient as a quality to practice is very important. And particularly, let's say all these nuggets we are following and nothing is changing in our life. It is important to realize that being patient is something which is necessary, and just be on that track, be on that path, but be patient.
Okay, nugget number 21 is about note keeping, and it is different from the first nugget about writing. Writing is the act of actually writing like 200 words, which I mentioned. But here we will be focusing on actually note keeping. So there should be a tracker, there should be a mechanism to revisit that. Searchability should be there. So maybe ideally using some digital tool would be a good advice, but not hard and fast. It can be using something like a notebook like this, but in whatever way, but keeping the notes and documenting your decisions, documenting the actions which you take is an extremely important.
Nugget number 22 is developing learning mindset. It also comes from extension of note taking, I think, that whether it is reading for a few minutes a day, whether it is taking down notes of whatever things we observe, the learning mindset is like a childlike brain where you have to develop this ability to be curious about things, and it's also about sharpening the saw. You can be working rigorously throughout your day through the tight schedules that you have knit, but allowing some space in between every day to absorb information mindfully, process it, and make sense out of it. Building that learning mindset is vital in that context.
And last but not the least, nugget number 23 is something which is also related to the end of the day, which is when you go for taking rest or sleep. It is a sleep ritual. So building a sleep ritual. And when we say sleep ritual, it starts with actually having a perfect exact time for going to bed so that you can wake up early in the morning. Many times we are wondering why I'm not waking up at the set time. It has to do everything with the previous night. So time is one aspect of it, but not only time. Sleep ritual also covers the ambience you keep around yourself. Maybe slowing down in your consumption of social media, slowing down your screen time, having a particular light, say a blue light, using some meditative music. It can be anything, but building that sleep ritual and focusing on sleep, giving it number one priority in our life is the last but not the least, the 23rd nugget.
Well, those are the 23 nuggets that we have kept as a reckoner, as a marker, even for ourselves, so that we could revisit our conversation, the first episode of 2023, but for our audience as well, that if they want to revisit these conversations, it's not that all these 23 or the 12 and 11 nuggets that we had jotted down we are going to follow. But essentially, they are something which we can pick up from any time of the year, anywhere, and start from there on. And I hope that it helps us and allows us to create a wonderful, mindful year ahead of us. At that note, I think we can complete our conversation. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next one.